Here's the story.
Ba-da-bum.
Here's the story of an ATC that was soon to meet the new Institute team. All their hearts were on fire as they consulted how to become Milestone 3.
Here's the story of an expansion phase with devotions and conversations across the land, saying, teaching prayer 9 times a day while nuclei expand.
And then one day all the friends moved in unity because we know belief is much more than a hunch. So we reflect and learn and plan together.
And that's the way we all became the cluster bunch.
The cluster.
Cluster bunch.
The cluster
The cluster bunch. That's the way we became the cluster bunch.
Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum.
Welcome, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the song. We are introducing the expansion phase of our next cycle, and we are now continuing the prayer campaign that we started last cycle. And the prayer campaign is saying the Southern Teaching Prayer 9 times a day for 2 weeks. And we got ambitious, and because we believe in you and we believe in our cluster, we are going to now do the Tablet of Ahmad in addition to the 9 Southern Teaching Prayers every day for 2 weeks. And we know that our cluster will be on fire. So I am going to hand it over to Anna, and Anna will explain to you what will happen after you say your teaching prayer. And every hour or a couple times a day, you focus on the quote by Abdul Baha that says, "Let your heart burn with loving kindness for everyone who crosses your path." And we hope that you have meaningful conversations and invite people to your activities. Anna will talk to you about the meaningful conversations.
Right. So as David said, we're being intentional about going out and talking to people and trying to find those opportunities to take our conversations about everyday things to the next level and elevate them and make them meaningful. And we should note that a meaningful conversation does not have the strictest of definitions, right? We're trying to make our conversations more uplifting, somewhat spiritual. But if it felt like a meaningful conversation to you, it is a meaningful conversation. And what we are trying to do this cycle is double the number of conversations and participants that we had reporting to our meaningful conversations forum so that we can continue to learn about how to have these conversations and how prayer and focusing on the quote have been influencing our abilities to do that. So what we're hoping for this expansion phase, and certainly not limited to the expansion phase, but during the expansion phase, we are hoping that 20 people will report their meaningful conversations, and that overall we get a total of 30 conversations shared using the conversations form. There is a link to that in the signature of all of the ATC emails. There's also a QR code on that flyer that you just got talking about the expansion phase. And even after the expansion phase, feel free to continue using those. But the goal again is 30 conversations reported by 20 different people during the expansion phase. And over the course of these conversations, just as David mentioned, we hope that you take the opportunity to invite those who you feel are ready to some kind of an event, be it some kind of social thing or devotional or starting a study circle or something else that's going on.
We're fireside.
So yeah, and I am going to pass it on to Alex at this point to talk about some of those devotional gatherings.
Yes. So, of all the things that we're trying to do, this is probably the easiest. It's the simplest because it doesn't require anyone else to show up for you to have this first event. So, the House of Justice envisioned having devotions in your home in the company of the people that you live with and your neighbors. And the National Spiritual Assembly has years ago adopted a goal for the United States that every Baha'i home would have one of these household devotionals. So as we thought about it, we looked at the people who have gone through the first couple Ruhi books, and we have set a goal that there would be 15 new household devotionals started during the expansion phase. So we are going to provide more information about that, and we have all the accompaniment available. But it's this simple goal. You can get started just by saying yes and picking a day and time and getting started, and then learning from each of those experiences. So I'm going to pass it to Maria to talk about the nuclei and teams.
So the goals for the teams and nuclei is to start a study circle together. So there's a few of us within the cluster that have connected with one another in either small teams or larger nuclei, and are doing some things that already in their little circles. So what we'd like to see is that if you already have a circle going on, make it a study circle. If that's not feasible, then make sure that all members of the team or nuclei are actually participating in the Training Institute. There is a Cluster Institute team that can be reached out to if you need some assistance and some accompaniment, and we'll be glad to do that. And there's going to be some more spaces, hopefully, for people to reach out to other individuals that might join and expand their nucleus and nuclei and their teams as well.
Tarani.
And Tarani.
Hi, friends. We all can add devotionals by having a devotional meeting before all of our nuclei and our team meetings. So we can make a dedicated space for devotions before all of your meetings that you have, which could help us send the spirit all over our cluster that is much needed.
And here's the really exciting part. On May 25th, after we do all of these elevated conversations and inviting people to our homes for devotions or firesides or conversations, we are going to reflect on what happened. So on May 24th, May 25th, we're going to gather and reflect on what happened. And this is just to support one another and talk about all the exciting things. The time and place will be announced. So May 25th.
And that's the way
We became
Cluster bunch. Da-da-da.
We love you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Aloha.
Good night.